Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is what if Naruto awakened a new bloodline after Itachi's attack? Part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now start the fanfic. Kushina had just given birth when a masked man materialized directly in front of her and ripped the 9 tails out of her. Minato saw the condition that his wife was in and took her to the hospital. After that, he returned to the battlefield, or so she thought. Kushina was writhing in the hospital bed in pain. No one had ever survived a tailed beast extraction. She immediately froze when she heard 2 voices in the hallway. One voice belonged to her beloved husband and the other belonged to a voice that she did not recognize. The voices grew louder and louder as they approached the woman's room. Minato, are you sure you want to use your son? The unknown person asked. It's the only way to ensure that the village has protection for life. No other village will mess with us since we will hold the most powerful tailed beast in existence, replied Minato. You're right, I guess we have that masked man to thank. But what will Kushina do? She will never let you use Naruto, said the mysterious voice. Why should we thank the masked man? I would have extracted the beast myself anyways. He just gave us someone to blame, and who cares what that bitch thinks? The only reason I married her was for this chance to get the 9-tailed fox. My real woman will raise Naruto with our own child when Kushina is dead. Minato replied. But she isn't dead, she's just unconscious for now, the unknown voice stated. For now, but she told me that no container has ever survived the extraction process before. Minato replied. Hearing all of this from the man she loved, Kushina began to tear up in bed. She should have listened when Tsunade, Makoto, Yoshino and Hitomi told her that Minato was no good. She should have listened to them when they started noticing his adulterous behavior. He had the guts to hit on her friends while they were married. Now, the women weren't her friends anymore. The friendship was ruined due to her blind love towards the horrible man. Minato, it's time, get Naruto now, said the voice as Minato walked over to take Naruto. As she heard his footsteps walking over to the cradle, something inside of her snapped. She was not going to let the betrayer take her child. She was not going to let Naruto die due to her husband's activities. No one was going to stop her from protecting her baby. Not even her own husband, Minato Namikaze, the Kage who single-handedly obliterated a majority of Iwa's forces in a few hours, would prevent her from protecting her baby to the very end. Kushina started to put her Kekkei Genkei into use. She used her adamantine chains to grab Minato's foot and threw him into the wall. Gah! The blonde-haired Kage yelled out. He looked up to see Kushina in her bed giving him a rage-filled glare. Kushina-chan, what are you doing? I thought you were unconscious. Why did you attack me? Minato demanded. You bastard! Kushina screamed, how could you do this to me? Betray me like this? You used me. Naruto will not do anything for you as long as I am Al. Kushina was cut off by a blow to her neck from the person that she just could not identify. The man held a kunai and was about to finish the job until he heard footsteps in the hallway. Minato, grab the boy, we have to leave now. He whispered loud enough only for Minato to hear. 2 hours later, Kushina woke up to an empty room. She sat up in her bed rubbing her neck as it was very sore. Suddenly, she started to regain memory of what transpired before she was knocked unconscious. No. She looked towards the cradle where Naruto was supposed to be only to realize that he was not there. Naruto! She screamed out as she started unstrap her legs from the bed until someone ran into the room. Calm down Kushina, you shouldn't stress yourself right now. It's not healthy for your body. Rest for now. A voice that she recognized ordered. Kushina looked up, she realized who it was. It was her ally Tsunade of the Sannin. Tsunade had a violet rhombus on her forehead. She has fair skin and brown eyes. Except for her bangs, which are parted in the middle and fall down the sides of her face, Tsunade's long, blonde hair is tied into 2 loose ponytails using purple bands. The same color as the seal on her forehead. She was wearing a grass-green robe with the kanji for gamble, do, cake written in black on the back, inside of a red circle. Underneath she wore a gray, kimono-style blouse with no sleeves, held closed by a broad, dark bluish-gray obi that matches her pants. Her blouse is closed quite low, revealing her sizable cleavage. She wears open-toed sandals with low heels and polish on both her fingernails and toenails. She also wears a soft pink lipstick and around her neck first Hokage's crystal necklace in clear view on her chest. How can I calm down when Minato stole my son? Right after he assaulted me. Kushina yelled. He did what? Sensei told me that you both decided to use Naruto in the sealing process. Tsunade shouted. Tsunade? That's not all he did, Kushina replied as she told Tsunade what she heard of the conversation between Minato and the mystery man. I would kill him if he wasn't already dead, Tsunade yelled. Tsunade, where is my Naru-chan? I want to hold him, Kushina asked. I'm sorry Kushina, but sensei told me that he died during the sealing. Tsunade said as she held her head down with tears coming out of her eyes. No, Kushina whispered. For Kushina, that was when her world ended. No way. You cannot tell me that he is dead. Never. Kushina screamed. Kushina she was cut off as Kushina screamed again. My baby. I didn't even get to hold him in my arms yet. I never got to even hear him laugh for the first time. Kushina sobbed. I didn't get to watch him grow up. I had a chance to, but that bastard ruined it. Kushina but she was cut off. Tsunade, could you please, leave me alone? I just need time to myself right now. Kushina requested. Okay, but if you need anything just call, I'll be right next door. Tsunade said as she walked away while Kushina cried herself to sleep. 30 minutes later, Kushina woke up to a female voice. Serves you right you bitch, you didn't even know that Minato didn't love you. He loves me and now that your piece of shit that you call a child is dead, my child will become the rightful heir of the Namikaze fortune. The woman boasted. Suddenly a chain shot out from Kushina's back and pierced the woman's stomach in an attempt to kill the unborn child. A banshee scream was heard through the village, alerting the Hokage as he jumped out of his chair, Yoshino who was gardening, Makoto who was training and Hitomi who was heading to the Hyuga training grounds, they all headed to the hospital. They are all Anbu. I may not be able to kill that bastard, but I will kill his child like he killed mine. Kushina said in a cold voice as the chain retracted. Kushina started to bleed through her bandages, as she was about to fall someone caught her. She looked around to see that it was Tsunade. Kushina, what happened in here? Tsunade asked, but before Kushina could answer the Sandaime Hokage, Makoto, Yoshino, Hitomi and some nurses came in. What happened here? The Hokage asked as Makoto, Yoshino and Hitomi rush over to their friend as the nurse heads over to the down woman who was bleeding out. Kushina was about to speak when Tsunade cut her off. She attacked Kushina while she was sleeping. Kushina was only defending herself. Tsunade replied. Okay Tsunade, come heal her before she and the baby dies, the Hokage said. I can't. If I don't heal Kushina she will die too. Because of the attack all of her wounds reopened. Tsunade replied as she started healing Kushina. But you can't let the baby die, she is very important to this village. The Hokage said. But why is that sensei? Who is the baby's father? The mother isn't related to anyone powerful, so why is it more important than Kushina? The last loyal Uzumaki? Tsunade asked. Well, forget about it. I'm sure the nurse can do it herself. The Hokage said as he quickly vanished. Why did you lie for me? You know that I was the one who attacked her. You will be in trouble when she wakes up, and tells the Hokage, Kushina said. And who will he believe? Now tell me, what caused you to attack her? Tsunade asked as she finished healing her. She came in here to boast about her and Minato's child. Kushina said as she started to cry when she felt Makoto, Yoshino and Hitomi arms wrap around her. I'm sorry guys, I should have believed you. Kushina said as she cried into their arms. It's all right, Kushina, we are all friends here and will do everything we can to help you. Makoto spoke while Yoshiko and Hitomi nodded in agreement. 3 months later, Tsunade entered the Hokage's office to see the Hokage's desk covered in paperwork. Behind the paperwork, you could see an old man cursing at the paperwork, wishing that it all could burn so that he didn't have to do it. I need some long-term missions with minimal stress in order to support the recovery of Kushina Uzumaki. Tsunade requested. Why? She was released 2 months ago, she looked alright to me. The Hokage asked. Physically, yes, but that's not what I'm talking about. She tried to kill herself 3 times during the last 3 months, just to be with Naruto. I want to take her away from the bad memories that were created in this village. Tsunade replied. I didn't know it was that bad. How long do you think it will take? And here, take as many as you can, the Hokage said as he gave the missions to her. I don't know, sensei, I just don't know. Tsunade said as she walked out of the Hokage's office, not seeing the smirk on his face. 10 years later, at the northern gates, 3 women walked through after being identified by the guards. A blonde, a redhead, and a raven-headed woman. Why do we have to come back here again? I don't want to be here anymore. Especially after what this village has done for me, Tsunade. The woman with red hair spoke with venom in her voice. To visit your friends and pay your respects to your son Kushina, said the blonde now known as Tsunade. Fine, said the redhead now known as Kushina as she ran off to visit her son's grave. I don't think it is wise to let her go on her own, said the raven-hair girl. Yes it is, Shizune, let her enjoy herself because I've been trying for years, to get her to come back and I still don't know why she chose now but I'm glad she did. Even though she's having second thoughts about it now. Tsunade said as she looked at Shizune. She had matured into a beautiful woman. She had shoulder-length black hair with bangs and onyx eyes, double C cup and long luscious legs. She was wearing a long bluish-black kimono with white trimmings, held closed by a white obi, and open-toed sandals with low heels. A 10-year-old blonde-headed boy of short stature was walking around the outermost edges of Konoha, near the Uchiha district. Moving slowly in order to cool down from his most recent training exercise. The young blonde who was commonly known as Naruto was sporting a slightly oversized white t-shirt with an orange spiral emblazoned on it, coupled with a pair of dark blue shorts with a wide array of pockets on the sides. But amongst these physical traits, the most striking amongst them was the matching set of whisker marks displayed starkly against his cheeks. He displayed them proudly, he didn't care what anyone else said. As Naruto was walking peacefully, he couldn't help but notice out of the corner of his eye, a dark-clad figure lying motionless on the cold ground, in the middle of the warmest of days. A sharp gust of wind blew around, causing a flurry of leaves and other such debris to float freely as if it was signifying an ominous presence. Regardless, he ignored it, his mouth twisting into a wide grin as he imagined the fun he could have with the sleeping figure. Moving as quietly as possible, Naruto crept towards the prone man and withdrew a pen from his back pocket, uncapping it with an audible pop. Caused him to cringe, slightly in fear that he had awoken the sleeping person. After a short time passed and he determined that he was undetected, he moved even closer, preparing to draw on the man's face. Just as he was upon the man with his pen at the ready, he noticed something was off. The man's eyes were wide open, locked in a wide visage that could only be described as unmoving. Naruto froze when he saw this and started to mumble an apology to the man. Ah, sorry, I was just, sorry. No hard feelings, right? The boy asked the man, not making eye contact. When he heard no response, he looked at the man, expecting to see the cold fury that people always had on their faces after one of his jokes. Instead, the man was lying on the ground in exactly the same position he had been when Naruto first saw him. Is he sleeping with his eyes open? Naruto thought mildly, causing a sweat drop to form on the back of his head. Still searching for a prank to pull, Naruto settled for the old, kick them in the ribs and run like hell, gag. Naruto drew his leg back and delivered the hardest kick that he could muster to the sleeping man, causing him to fly roughly 5 feet away from his original and motionless position. Once again, Naruto was presented with an oddity. He had expected the man to get up and chase him, instead, he simply laid there, almost as if he hadn't felt the bone bruising forces applied to him. Once more walking over to the prone figure, Naruto looked at the man's face in more detail, only to find that it was turning slightly blue. In a brief moment of clarity, Naruto realized that the figure wasn't sleeping. Naruto was very naive for his age, mostly due to his age and general inexperience. However, it did not take much further inspection to determine that this man was in fact dead. Shocked at his discovery, Naruto turned around to run away, only to find his path blocked by another figure. This one was in an Anbu uniform. Naruto was frightened right then and there. He normally got blamed for things he didn't do, and this was something he didn't do. Hell, he didn't even know what happened, other than the fact that the guy was dead. It isn't what it looks like. He exclaimed quickly, I just found him. I know exactly what it looks like. The Anbu said, walking over to the body. Naruto could see that the shinobi had dark black hair, much like the dead man had. Uchiha Shisui appears to have been suffocated or drowned, killed by Uchiha Itachi. The masked ninja replied. That's awesome, how you can tell that just by looking at a dead body. Naruto exclaimed, glad that he wasn't being blamed for the death of the man. How do you do that? There was a pause for a moment, as the Anbu turned and looked at Naruto, his eyes turning from black to red, with 3 odd marks circling his pupils. I am Itachi, he stated calmly. Now that you have seen this, I cannot let you live, he said as he drew his sword. Naruto turned to run, but was stopped when the cold metal of an Anbu sword cut through his stomach. The sword was quickly removed, before it was once again slid through his body. Naruto let out a scream, only to find it muffled by the hand of the Anbu. As Naruto slid to the ground, he was rolled over. Before he lost consciousness, he saw the ninja take out a kunai. Then everything went black. Then Itachi went over to Shisui when he felt a strong chakra signal coming towards him. Shit, I'm not strong enough to take on that person, I have to get out of here, Itachi said as he vanishes, not before he kicks the body in the river, planning to look for it later. Kushina was coming from the grave of her son and was going to visit her friend Makoto, when she saw a boy that had blonde hair and looked like Minato. But he had whiskers on his face. She looked at him and realized that he was bleeding from his stomach and his slashed out eyes, and then she started to laugh. Cuckoo serves you right, you Minato spawn. Looks like I didn't kill you that day, but you're going to die anyway, Kushina said as she walked away but stopped. Something in her heart told her that she should save him. After all, it wasn't the boy's fault that Minato cheated on her. At the hospital, as Kushina entered the hospital, she was attacked by the same screaming banshee that she stabbed 10 years. You killed my baby. Now I am going to kill you, she yelled as she attacked Kushina with an injection needle, but Kushina kept dodging the crazy woman's swipes. What are you talking about? Your son's still alive in my hands, Kushina replied as she continued to dodge the poisonous weapon. That demon is not my child. You killed my baby, she yelled, but a fist to the face by Kushina knocked her out. Kushina did not know why she had punched the woman, but she felt like the women deserved it. If he is not that woman's child, then who is he? Kushina's thought before she was interrupted by a nurse. Naruto. Is he alright? The girl asked. I'm not sure, I found him near the Uchiha compound, Kushina said. Then she looked good at the girl before her. Rin. Is that you? Kushina asked. Yes it is, but I can't talk now. I have to take Naruto to the Rin said as she told Naruto from Kushina. Naruto. Why would that boy be named after my dead son? He also looks like him. What is going on here? Kushina thought. Excuse me, nurse. What is that boy's last name? Kushina asked. You mean the demon boy? She asked with venom in her voice. Answer my question, Kushina said back with a little key leaking. I said his last name was Uzumaki, the nurse said as she ran away. Naruto Uzumaki. He even has my last name. What the hell is going on? Kushina shouted in her mind. Then she saw Tsunade. Tsunade, what are you doing here? Sensei asked me to save a boy that was attacked today. Why are you here? Tsunade asked. I'm the one who found the boy. Say Tsunade, could you do me a favor? Could you do a DNA test on the boy? Kushina asked. Why? She asked. Because he looks too much like my son. The only difference is that he has blonde hair now. Kushina replied. But Kushina, your son is dead. Tsunade said. I know, but please, it will help me find some peace. Kushina replied with tears in her eyes. Okay, Tsunade said as she entered the ER. Kushina, what are you doing here? The Hokage asked as he just arrived. Didn't Tsunade tell you I was here? Kushina said. Yes, she did, but why are you at the hospital? The Hokage replied. I was the one who saved the boy, Kushina said. Shit. The Hokage thought, thanks for saving him. Hokage-sama, why does that boy have my last name? Kushina asked. The Hokage was sweating bullets, but he was saved by a nurse who called him. Tsunade and Rin was working hard trying to save Naruto, when red chakra started leaking out of his body and healing his wounds. Shit, we have to stop this. Tsunade shouted. Why? It will heal him faster. Rin asked. That may be true, but if it heals his eyes before we get a replacement, he will be blind for the rest of his life. Tsunade said as she put a seal on Naruto. You're right, but how long before the seal wears out? Rin asked. An hour. Tsunade replied. You there? Get the replacement eyes from the medical bay. Rin yelled as the nurses run out. Uchiha compound. Makoto had just come from a mission to see dead bodies all over the place. Oh my god, who could have done this? Makoto said as tears came out of her eyes. Then she remembered her children. Sasuke, Anika, Makoto shouted as she ran into the house to see both Sasuke and Anika on the ground. She ran over to them, thinking the worst until she checked them herself. They were only unconscious. Shit, why did Itachi had to go on that month-long mission? Thank God, Makoto said as she creates a shadow clone to take up Sasuke while she took up Anika. On her way to the hospital, when she saw something flowing in the river, as she went closer she realized who it was. Shisui. Makoto yelled as she put down Anika and rushed out to fish out the body. When she turned over the body she saw a cut near Shisui's eyes. Someone was trying to steal his eyes. Shisui, who could have done this to you? With your mastery of genjutsu, I'm surprised you lost. Makoto said as she took out his eyes. Can't let anybody get their hands on these. Makoto said as she sealed them away and went back to Anika and took off to the hospital. At the hospital, Makoto had just dropped off her children. They were going to be alright. Sasuke had great mental strain and no one could tell her what was causing this and was just knocked out. As Makoto was using the bathroom she heard someone talking. Can you believe Tsunade-sama want to save that demon? Said a nurse. Yeah, she had the nerves to send me to retrieve replacement eyes for that demon brat. He could go blind for all I care. Said nurse 2. Yeah, it'll be easier to kill him now. Said nurse 1 as they both laughed. Then a kunai went through the skull of nurse 1. Nurse 2 started screaming until Makoto appeared and pushed her kunai in her stomach. Where is the medical bay? Makoto interrogated. Ha ha ha, it doesn't matter if you find it, because not even with your speed, the demon only has a few seconds remaining before he is blind forever. She did get to finish as Makoto pushed the kunai farther, killing her. Shit, she is right, I need to do something. Makoto said. She then suddenly thought, Shisui would have wanted you to have it, Naruto-kun. She suddenly towards the and ran. When Makoto arrived at the door to the some nurses tried to stop her, but Makoto was a ninja, so she just shinned right behind them. Kushina came from the lunch room to see someone dodging the nurses. Where is she going? Thought Kushina. What the hell has taken so long, Kimiko? We only have a couple of seconds remaining. Rin asked. She's dead, said Makoto as she entered the room. What are you doing here? Tsunade asked. We will talk later. Take these eyes, Makoto said as she unsealed the eyes. But these eyes have. Rin was cut off by Tsunade. She will explain later. Tsunade said as she took the eyes from Makoto and started the surgery. I will come and check on him later. Makoto said as she vanishes in a puff of smoke. 2 weeks later in the the next thing that Naruto knew, he was lying in a bed in a hospital bed. He tried to open his eyes, but found that he was stopped by something covering them. Reaching up to touch his eyes, he felt the coarse but soft texture of gauze. Suddenly he was racked with a fit of pain as the adrenaline of his awakening wore off. He groaned and winced in pain. It wasn't until someone spoke up that he realized someone was in the room. Naruto-kun, it is good to see you are awake, said Rin. Rin-chan, what happened? Naruto managed to groan out while he winced. It would seem that you were attacked by someone and left for dead. Rin said. You were found by a woman named Kushina. Rin-chan, what's with my eyes? Naruto interrupted Rin. Although he couldn't see it, Rin cringed before she answered. I was about to explain that. It seems that for whatever reason, someone damaged your eyes beyond our healing abilities. Rin said. This elicited a gasp of shock from Naruto. Does this mean I'm blind? He asked. Through gasps of breath. He began to cry at the prospect of never being able to see again. No. Rin said. Thanks to Makoto-sama and Tsunade-sama, a famous medic nin, she was able to transplant Shisui's eyes into you. It is very rare indeed, but it was vital to your survival that every place that blood could leak out from was plugged. That included your eyes. I have some dead guy's eyes in my head. Naruto yelled. Yes, Naruto-kun, I suppose you do. Rin chuckled. Naruto, those eyes are very special. They hold the bloodline limit of the Uchiha clan. What is it? Naruto asked. It's a special ability that is passed down through someone's family. It is the Sharingan. Rin explained. Wow, that's cool. Naruto replied. Naruto-kun, I also found out that your whole body is adapting and changing from the genes in the eye. For all we know, you could have a totally different dojutsu, Rin said. Naruto just lay in bed digesting all of the new information he had just learned. Naruto, did you see who did this? Rin asked as Naruto describes the man. Shit, it was Itachi. Makoto-sama won't like this. Rin-chan, how long was I out for? Did anything happen? He asked. To answer your first question, you were unconscious for about 2 weeks. Now, Naruto, the second thing is pretty bad. Itachi, that is the name of the man that attacked you. He murdered his entire family except for his little brother, Sasuke, sister Anika and mother Makoto. Rin said in a sad voice. This means that there are only a few people left in the world with the same kinds of eyes you have. Naruto just sat there in silence. He didn't know what to do. He was only 10 for crying out loud, and he just found out that he had some dead guy's eyes in his head, and the dead guy's family was dead. This day just couldn't get any weirder. He fell asleep with those thoughts. Oh, how wrong he was. After checking up on Naruto, Tsunade made her way back to her room. She had a meeting to conduct with her sensei, and it wasn't going to be good. As she entered her room, she saw Rin waiting for her. She was holding a standard medical file, with all of the information they could gain from Naruto while he was unconscious. Everything seems to be fine, Tsunade-sama. Rin said. There is one interesting thing. You know he was an orphan, right? Tsunade just nodded. Well, I ran a DNA test like you asked with some extra blood samples we had, and well, you should look at them yourself. She handed Tsunade the folder. When she opened it, she stared at a complete genetic profile of the blonde. However, what grabbed her attention was the report that Rin had written up. Kushina was right, Tsunade said. Who else has seen this? She demanded. Only you and I have seen the report, she stated, calmly. Tsunade began to massage her temples as she felt a migraine coming on. Do you know how this could have happened? Tsunade asked. I have no idea, although I shudder to think of how she'll take this. Rin said. Tsunade's office. Hey Tsunade, is it him? She asked, a look of excitement passing through her purple eyes. Yes Kushina, it's him. Tsunade said. Kushina's eyes grew wide at those words, and she collapsed into a chair, grasping her breath and shaking her red hair in such a manner, and started to cry as Rin comforted her. Then her mood changed. So, you're saying that my Sochi-kun is alive? But the Hokage told me he was dead. Kushina yelled, through ragged breaths. Why? Why did he lie to me then? She demanded. I don't know, Kushina, but let's ask the Hokage. Tsunade suggested. Hospital. As they arrive at Naruto room, they saw the Hokage about to go in. You bastard! Kushina yelled as she withdrew her katana and attacked the Hokage, but he blocked it with his staff. Kushina, what is the meaning of this? The Hokage said as he dodged a slash at his head. You lied to me. You told me my son was dead. When he was really alive. Kushina said as she took another swing at the Hokage. But, your son really is dead. Hokage said while dodging again. No, he is not. He is the boy I rescued 2 weeks ago, Kushina replied. No, that not your son, that boy is an orphan. Your eyes are playing tricks on you, Hokage said. Orphan? My Rin did a DNA, and it proved that he is my son, Kushina yelled. Is that true? The Hokage asked Rin. Yes, Hokage-sama, Rin replied. I didn't, Kushina know if I did, the Hokage as he dodges another slash thrown at him. Don't lie to me, how could you not know? Kushina yelled as her kanata stated to glow, Devil's Play G. Shit, I'm dead, the old Hokage said. Kushina, wait, hear me out. When your son was born, he had red hair, right? The third asked. Yes, straight red hair and my purple eyes. Kushina replied, but her kanata was still glowing. Danzo came to me with 2 boys, one of them had blonde hair and blue eyes, whisker marks, and the other was a straight red hair, no whisker marks with purple eyes, but the red hair was dead. Plus, I saw the body get buried myself, so did many other people. The third replied. Don't lie to me, Kushina yelled. Kushina, I had no intention of lying to you about this. The third said. Then why didn't you tell me about the next boy? I could have taken care of him, Kushina replied. Why would you? The third asked. Because of that Tem ruining his life. It was the least I could have done. Kushina replied. Why do you hate your husband so much? He was only trying to save the village. The third asked when he felt her ki increase. Don't ever call him that. Now he is nothing to me. Kushina fired back as she punched the wall, destroying it, and walked away. I am going to see Danzo, right now. Kushina demanded. There's no way that I'm letting him get away with this. I'm going to kill him. Kushina yelled. No, let me handle Danzo. The third said. I want to see him now. Kushina shouted. No. As your Hokage, I order you to stop now. The third yelled as Kushina walked up to his face. You can always try, old man. Kushina said as she shattered the glass and appeared behind him and about to swing her kanata at his head, when Tsunade caught her hand. Shit. She is a lot faster than before. Thank you, Tsunade, Hokage thought. Kushina, stop. If you attacking the Hokage, you will be executed and you will never see your son again. Tsunade said. You're right. I going to see my son. Kushina said as she went into his room. Thank you, Tsunade. The third said. I didn't do it for you, I did it for Kushina and her son, Tsunade said as she entered the room followed by the Rin. Naruto. Room. Kushina's face was a mixture of emotions. Happy and sad were interchanged with anger and fury. She was grateful for the chance to be a part of her son's life, sad that he had been hospitalized in critical condition for the past 2 weeks, and angry at Danzo for what he did as she looked at her sleeping son. Kushina, I have something to show you, said a voice. What is it, Shizune? Kushina replied. Kushina, in the DNA results, Rin found some very interesting information. It seems that Naruto has a large number of genetic markers, in common with an Uchiha as well as Minato and yourself. Shizune said. This elicited a loud gasp from Tsunade and a blank look from Kushina. Are you saying that my Sochi-kun has my bloodline as well as that Tem? She questioned. Yes, I am, but his fat. Rin was cut off by a growl from Kushina. Sorry, I never knew the Namakazes had a bloodline. The Tem never liked to talk about it because it skipped his generation. It was the legendary dojutsu, the Rinnegan. The rest of the occupants in the room gasped. Then Rin continued after getting her voice back. You see, during his assault, Itachi damaged his eyes so badly that they had to be removed. When you found him and with the help of Makoto-sama, Tsunade was able to transplant the eyes of Uchiha Shisui to stem the large amount of blood loss he was experiencing. So the genes in the eye were absorbed and modified. Though what's weird is that the results we are getting is that the eye is mutating as well. So with the information you just gave me, it's possible that Naruto awakened both the Rinnegan and Sharingan and merged them with your bloodline. Rin said. Wait, what about the Kyuubi? Does that mean that he is part demon or something? Tsunade asked, shocked at Rin's analytical analysis of Naruto's abilities. My son isn't a demon, it must be the side effect of having the demon sealed in him. Kushina said, glaring at the Sannin. Calm down, you two. Shizune said. If what Rin said is correct, Naruto must be subjected to someone's DNA to change. Since the Kyuubi is sealed inside of him, then there is no fear of him becoming a demon. Besides, we have a full DNA write-up. He's 100% human, only just like Kushina with instant regeneration, senses beyond that of Ninken and possibly, immortality. But, what's to stop someone from putting their blood into him? He'll keep on changing, and that won't be good. Kushina worried that her son may end up a power-hungry fiend. I believe that the ability is either fading, or slowing down completely just like it did with Kushina, because he adopted the genes of the Kyuubi within a matter of minutes. But this time it took almost the entire 2 weeks he was unconscious for the changes to occur. Do you have those reports, Shizune? Rin asked. Hi. His DNA had been slowly changing over the period of the past 2 weeks, and the changes were mostly minimal. I would need to run more tests, but I think that this ability is either being overridden in his own DNA, or it is being stopped as to prevent further damaging Naruto. Shizune deduced. Now, said Rin, what do you say about meeting your son? Had they not turned to wake up Naruto, they would have noticed the face with yellow eyes watching them as it licked its lips and laughed. Ku Naruto-kun, you will be mine soon. It said before it vanishes. They put up privacy seal. Naruto, wake up, Rin said as she shake him. Rin-chan, is that you? Naruto said as he stood up. Yes, it's me, Rin replied. Is it time to take this blindfold off? Naruto asked. Yes, it is time, Rin said as he took off the blindfold and the light entered his eyes, blinding for a second. When his Sharingan eye in the form of Shisui Mangekyo Sharingan adapted to the light, he looked around and saw 3 of the most beautiful women he had ever seen, a blonde hair one, a black hair one, and finally a red head. Who are you? Naruto asked. Naruto, this Tsunade, the one I told you about, Rin replied as she pointed to the blonde one. Thanks, Tsunade-sama, Naruto replied. Don't worry about Naruto, Tsunade said. And this is her apprentice Shizune, Rin said as she pointed to the black hair one. Nice to meet you, Shizune-san, Naruto said. You too, Naruto-san, Shizune replied. And this Kushina, she is the one that saved you, Rin said, pointed to the red head. Thank you, Kushina-san, for saving me even though a monster like me doesn't deserve it, Naruto replied sadly. Why do you think you are a monster? Kushina asked as tear fell down her cheek. That's what the villagers say to me as they beat me, Naruto said as all the women began to cry. Why is this woman crying? Kushina could take it anymore and she lounges at him. Sochi, I'm sorry, if I knew you were alive I would have stayed and protected you, Kushina said as she cried on Naruto. Hey, stop that. I don't know you, lady, and stop calling me your son because I won't fall for that again, Naruto said as he pushed her away. That made Kushina cry even harder. I am your mother, Kushina replied. You are not my mother. I heard my mother was a whore, who abandoned me just so she could spread her legs for strange men. Naruto shouted. That made Kushina cried even harder. Naruto, she really is your mother. Rin shouted. So it was true, you really did abandon me. Naruto shouted as he lounges at Kushina but was caught by some chains. Let me go, you bitch, I don't want anything to do with you. Naruto shouted. Please, Sochi, give me a chance to explain myself. I love you, said a crying Kushina. No, Naruto shouted. Naruto, stop, she thought you were dead. She didn't abandon you. Tsunade shouted, comforting a crying Kushina. Why should I believe you? Naruto replied. Because I believe her, Rin said she, which shocked Naruto. Rin-chan, I thought you were on my side, Naruto said. I am. Just listen to her story before you judge her, Rin replied as Naruto looked at her. Give her a chance, said a voice. Fine, Naruto muttered. He knew Rin was right, he could at least hear her out. Thank you, Sochi, Kushina said and explained herself. So you think the Hokage lied to you? Naruto replied as Kushina nodded her head. I don't believe that the old man would ever do that to me. He is always the one that saves me from the mob. Naruto shouted. Naruto, calm down, and think about it. I don't want to believe, but it's true, Rin said. Naruto started thinking about it when he remembered how the Hokage always came after the mob had beaten him. He would have them arrested, then he would give the Naruto the speech on how he should forgive them. The worst of all was that the people that had beaten him was freed the next day, and when he asked the Hokage about it, he changed the subject or say, there was no witness to support the case, then he would wake up in his apartment not knowing how he got there. Naruto started to cry. He could not believe the old No, the Hokage could do that to him, as the tears came down. Rin and Shizune pushed Kushina towards him to comfort him. She went over and put her arms around Naruto and pulled him into her chest. Mom, I am so sorry for doubting you. I don't deserve your love, Naruto said. Don't worry, Naruto-kun, mommy will always love you, Kushina said while she begins to cry too. She held him as if her life depended on it. I am so sorry, Naruto-kun, she repeat. Suddenly she sensed a powerful ki coming towards her. Her chain came out of the ground, capturing a raven hair woman in a bird cage. You bitch, stay away from Naruto, said a voice as she attacks Kushina, who easily dodges it. Makoto-chan, why are you attacking me? Kushina asked. Don't Makoto-chan me, you bitch, you abandoned Naruto, Makoto shouted as she attacks Kushina again, who dodges again. No, I didn't. Now stop attacking me and let me explain, Kushina replied, but Makoto wasn't listening. Miko-chan, stop, Naruto shouted. But Naruto, she was cut off. Let her explain, Naruto replied. Fine, Makoto said as she listens to Kushina's story. Just answer me one question, did you get my letters? Makoto asked. What letters? Asked a surprised Kushina. So the Hokage lied to me, he told me you got my letters, Makoto replied. The only things we got was mission scrolls and nothing else, Tsunade said. What was in those letters? Kushina asked. When we first saw Naruto, he acts like you and had your last name, so we thought he was your son, but when we asked the Hokage, he denied our claims, saying it was just a coincidence, and when we asked where you were, he said that you didn't want anybody to know where you were. So we drop it. 2 months after observing him, we decided to send you a letter by putting it in the mission scroll, but we got no response, so after a year of trying we gave up, Makoto said. So why didn't you adopt him? Kushina asked. The Hokage and our husbands would stop us, so we decided to protect him from the shadows, Makoto replied. Damn it, Hokage, you are always ruining my life. One day you will pay, Naruto thought. So who did this to Naruto-kun? Makoto asked, but they all hesitant until Rin told her everything. Right before Naruto could say anything, Makoto was in front of Naruto and crushing in between her valley of her DD. Makoto was a very beautiful woman, long raven hair, slim shapely body, and lovely, although she was in her late 30s, but she looks like a woman in her late 20s. Are you alright? Makoto asked with tears in her eyes. I'm okay, Makoto-chan, Naruto said as he hugged her back. How can it be okay when my son did this to you? Makoto said, still crying. Makoto-chan, please stop crying. I hate to see a beautiful woman cry. I'm okay, Naruto replied as he started rubbing her back. Makoto blushed instantly and stopped crying. If you say so, Naruto-kun, Makoto said in his warm embrace. Then they were interrupted when they heard Rin's cough. Rin coughed. We have a problem, the old man will soon arrive. What should we do? We will act like everything is okay, Kushina said as everybody nodded their heads in agreement. But what about Naruto's eyes? We can't let them see them. We don't know what they will do, Shizune asked. You're right, Rin replied. Leave that to me, Kushina said as she channeled her chakra into her hands as she touched Naruto's stomach. Please protect Naruto-kun, as Naruto's eyes turned back to his normal blue eyes. Kushina, did you just use K? Tsunade was cut off by Makoto's hand. After more planning on how they will be acting when the Hokage came in later. The Hokage walked in and heard. It's good see you Ka-chan, you look beautiful. I really like your long red hair, I wonder what I look like with your hair, said Naruto missing Kushina's blush. Thank you Sochi, said Kushina. Tsunade then introduced herself then gave him a hug crushing him her big beautiful while Naruto hugged her back and rest his face into making him blush. Seeing this Kushina, Shizune and Rin started to laugh. The boy has good taste, said the Hokage surprising them. Yeah right, while blood started to leak out of his nose. Tsunade saw this and a vein started to twitch on her forehead, then you could hear the scream of the Hokage as he was flying across the village. When the Sandaime returned from his trip, Rin told Naruto everything during the operation, leaving out everything they don't want the Hokage to know. Long story short, Naruto was shocked. They talked some more before Naruto fell asleep, then they left. After they left, a figure came out of the shadows and pours something in a sleeping Naruto mouth. Soon Naruto, you will be mine, ku, 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 then it sank back into the shadows. 2 days later. Where do you live? Kushina asked. Naruto led her to the apartment. The old man said that it was the best he could get, he said. Kushina looked at the apartment in disbelief. You're joking, right? She asked. No, come look. Naruto led her into the apartment. He opened the door and Kushina looked around. I don't have anything besides a bed, a few chairs and a refrigerator I found around in the village, Naruto told her. Kushina walked around the apartment barely holding her anger. I am going to kill those bastard, she growled as she walked up to the refrigerator that looked like it had been through a war and opened it and saw some milk and ramen. These expire last year. They won't sell me anything fresh no matter where I go unless Makoto or Rin-chan is with me, and they can't always be with me, so I just have to buy them. Well, it won't happen again because I am here now, Kushina said as she walked up to Naruto and hugged him. 3 years later. Uzumaki compound. They lived in a mansion on a vast estate neighboring the Hyugas. They were wealthy because of all the money she made on her missions. She even built a garden behind the house after an incident where they were almost poisoned. Kushina went on a rampage destroying stall that belongs to the vendors that sold them the food before killing them. It took the combined effort of her friend Makoto, Hitomi and Yoshino, to calm her down. The Hokage had called her into his office after that and asked her why she had done that to the vendors who were no real threat to her. Kushina almost blew a gastric and attacked the Hokage, but her friends held her back before she replied that if poisoning them wasn't a threat then she knew what was, and she even told the Hokage that if she caught any uninvited guest on her property then she won't hesitate to kill them even if it was him. Throughout those years Kushina trained Naruto in anything and everything that she knew and what his body can handle. When she was done she wanted Naruto to be able to protect himself when she had to go on a mission. 2 years later. Naruto entered the classroom and introduced himself to the class before the teacher told him to take a seat. As Naruto walked up the stairs he could feel the ki coming from some of the students, but he ignored them and took his seat beside a Hyuga who had the usually Hyuga stare. Hi, my name is Naruto, do mind if I sit? Naruto asked, but she just looked at him and she just ignored him. So this is Kushina's son? The girl had a confused look on her face. Mom told me to try and make friends with him but dad told me not to. Who should I listen to? So this is Hitomi-chan daughter? Naruto looked at her. She has dark blue hair which reached her back and fair skin, a traits that she inherited from her Hitomi. It's a shame she doesn't have Hitomi personality. Naruto was about to ask her something when a raven-haired girl approached him. Naruto Uzumaki? She asked. Mom was right, he is cute. It's shame dad forbid me from visit him when mom does. Yes, that's me, Naruto replied as he looked at the girl with raven color hair which reached her shoulders and black eyes. She looks just like Makoto-chan and she is so friendly. Then come with me, she replied as she puts out her hands. The teacher is glaring at us, Naruto said as the girl looked at the teacher before turning back to him. I'm an elite Uchiha, I don't answer to anybody, the girl replied. I see, but I am okay with my seat. Naruto said. I don't want a cute guy like you getting corrupted by this Hyuga bitch, the Uchiha said. Hearing this, the Hyuga turned around. What did you called me? The Hyuga girl asked. Are you deaf? I call you a bit. The Uchiha did finish as a palm thrust hit her in her stomach, sending her across the room, crashing into a desk, knocking her out. The teacher rushes her to the school hospital, but not before he gave the Hyuga girl detention after class. After class, as the Hyuga came from detention, she was suddenly surrounded by 10 boys about a year older. So the great Anika Uchiha could not fight me herself, so she decided to bring back up, the Hyuga said as she got into a fighting stance. I don't need them to beat you, Hana Hyuga, but I don't want to get myself dirty, the Uchiha now known as Anika said as she looked at the boys. Get her. Bring it on, the Hyuga known as Hana shouted as she fought them off as much as possible until they finally overpowered her. They held her down and started ripping off her clothes. Hey guys, stop that. Anika realizing that the guys were taking it too far, but they ignored her. Kukukuk, finally Hyuga bitch, I can do what I wanted to do with you the first time I saw you, a boy said as he ripped off her panties. You always thought you were better than us, said another as he ripped off her bra. Stop this, it's not what I wanted. Anika yelled as she kicks one of boys off Hana, but the rest overpowered her. Now she was in the same position as Hana. Finally I get to sample a Hyugas, one of the boys said. Yeah, and I get to sample an Uchihas, another boy said while the rest hold down both girls. The girls are side by side, as the girls scream for someone to help them. Some of students heard the girls scream, but when they saw that it was a Hyuga and Uchiha they just ignore them, that what they get for being stuck up bitches. The two boy took out there and was about to enter them when suddenly there fell to the ground, wind release wind blade. What the hell? The other turn around to see Naruto glaring at them. Who wants to be next? Naruto said in a cold voice as he ran through some more seal, wind R. Kya, the boys shouted as they ran off. Are you girls alright? Naruto said as he walked up to the girls, only for the girls tackle him to the ground and began to cry on his shoulders while Anika keep on apologizing to Hana. Hana, I sorry. I never meant it to go this far, Anika said. Why should I forgive you? Hana said as she lifts her head out of Naruto's embrace. I know we never see eye to eye before, but I am sorry for what happened to you, Anika said as she cried even more. She did come to her senses and try to stop them. Hana, fine, but trust is something that you earn. Thank you, Hana, Anika said. Then she put out her hands. Can we start over and be friends? My name is Anika Uchiha, as Hana accepted. Hana Hyuga, nice to meet you, Hana said. Then they both turned to Naruto as he put his hands on top of theirs. Naruto Uzumaki, Naruto said as they removed their hands. Hana walked up to Naruto and kisses him on his cheeks. What was that for? A shocked Naruto asked as a blush appeared on his face. For saving my life, Hana replied, and before he could say anything another lips attaches itself to his other cheek. It was Anika. Thanks for saving my life too, Naruto-kun, Anika said with a blush on her face. This day was the start of a beautiful friendship between the two girls, and the love war over Naruto. 1 year later, Naruto was coming from training late at night when out of nowhere he heard the sound of chirping birds. Chidori. He turned around to see a goat mask, and that was the last thing he saw and heard. That was for my teacher. Mindscape. Naruto opened his eyes to find himself in a wet, decrepit, sewer-like hallway. Leaking pipes hung from the ceiling over his head, and the water on the floor went up to his knees. Naruto suddenly found himself in front of a massive cage. The bars must have been over 100 feet in height, but there was no lock on them. Instead there was a piece of white paper with the kanji for seal on it in black. Well, Well, so my container comes to greet me. I was wondering when you would be coming here. Naruto felt the ground tremble as he heard the loud voice. He looked into the cage as steam began to come out from between the bars. Naruto's eyes widened as a toothy grin appeared along with a set of glowing crimson orbs. So, to what do I how this pleasure, little one? Naruto looked up at the creature as more of its body was revealed. Kei Kyuubi no wa Yoko. The Kyuubi smiled as it winked at Naruto. Correct. You aren't as dumb as I thought you were, The smirk on Kyuubi's features made the blonde incredibly nervous. Suddenly the Kyuubi began to shrink as it began to take a new form. When the Kyuubi finished its transformation, there was a human figure lying on the ground. Naruto's eyes widened when he saw it, or rather her features. She had crimson red hair that fell to the small of her back. She had a pale complexion, long slender arms, a perfect hourglass figure, and an impressive set of. She looked to be about 15 years old. As she stood up, she revealed her whole form, completely. Naruto blushed crimson red as he stared into her crimson eyes. So, do you like what you see? Naruto did not know whether it was her looks in general, or if it was how she said it, but he did the first thing that seemed logical, he fainted. If you people are having any trouble with Kyuubi's human form, just think Kurumu from Rosario Vampire with crimson hair and red slit eyes. Good you are awake, Kyuubi said. Naruto seemed puzzled for a moment. Where am I? Kyuubi's sweat dropped. Quote. We're currently inside your mind, you were attacked. Oh. Naruto looked around. So what now? We can hang out while I heal you. Kyuubi and they talk. He found out her name and how she became the Kyuubi, but she did not tell him why she attacked the village. Finally I finish healing you Naruto-kun, Kurumu said. Thanks Kurumu-hime, Naruto replied as he hugged her as she blushes. You welcome Naruto-kun, Kurumu said as she crushes him into her DD making him blush. Can we talk again? Naruto said as he let go of her. Any time you want, just come visit me, Kurumu replied. Good night, Kurumu-hime. And with that Naruto vanishes. Kurumu smiled. Good night, Naruto-kun. Real World Hospital. Naruto woke up to see Kushina in his bed as Naruto sits up. The movement wake up Kushina. Naruto-kun, thank God, Kushina said as she hugs him, but he did not respond. Mother and son looked at each other for a moment. Naruto sighed. When were you going to tell me about Kurumu? So he finally met her. Kushina, I was planning to tell you sometime before you became a genin. It's okay mom, Naruto said with a smile on his face. So you are not mad? Kushina asked. Nope, it is the best thing that ever happens to me, Naruto replied as he hugs her. Anyway, who attacked you? Kushina asked. I can't remember, Naruto replied. Okay, but from now on I will increase your training, Kushina said. The next day, Naruto, I would like to introduce you to your new secret senseis. For Kenjutsu would be Yugao, for Taijutsu would be Guy, for Genjutsu, and for Ninjutsu. Kushina said. Why can't you, Makoto, Yoshino and Hitomi teach me? Naruto asked. Because none of us have the time right now, Kushina replied. Okay, who do I have tomorrow? Naruto asked. That will be me, my very youthful friend, Guy shouted. That was the day that Naruto met a man that would haunt Naruto dreams. As they was about to leave, Kushina asked Guy to stay a minute. If my son comes back dressing and acting like you, I will show you how youthful my Kanata is, Kushina said to a now scared Guy. The next day at Guy's dojo, Maida Guy sat in the middle of the dojo room as Naruto entered wearing his required uniform. You're on time, Guy spoke sternly making Naruto nod. So what will you teach me? Naruto asked. Nothing, Guy replied. What do you mean by nothing? Naruto yelled. I mean nothing yet. Every day after school on Mondays you will be running around the village 100 times on your hands, 100 sit-ups, 100 one-hand push-ups, 200 wall clinking pull-ups and push-ups while wearing 100 pounds of weight, Guy replied as he gave Naruto the weight suit to put on. Are you crazy? Naruto yelled back. Make it 200 inches, Guy said. Stop complaining and do it, Kurumu said. Fine, Naruto replied. 5 months later, Naruto got used to all of Gai's crazy workout. You are here early, Gai said as Naruto nodded. Good, now I can tell you about the 8 gates. Naruto now sat on the floor in front of Gai. Now for the required period to learn the 8 gates is 5 months. In 1 week I will see how many gates you can open, and that's when I know it's your limit. You do not go beyond that limit until I tell you, understand? Gai looked serious as Naruto nodded back as they started the session. For the first lesson I will tell you about the 8 gates. Naruto nodded. The 8 gates are 8 specific points on a person's chakra pathway system. They limit the overall flow of chakra within a person's body. Gai lectured as he carried on. The basis for the idea of the chakra gates comes from the body's limits on the functions within it. This makes the body much weaker, but it keeps the body from expiring too soon. In order to avoid this, one has to undergo intense training. To open these gates allows the user to surpass their own physical limits at the cost of extreme damage to their own bodies. Do you get me so far, Naruto? The Uzumaki nodded as he absorbed everything. Now let's get into detail to what these 8 gates are. Gai got up now as he started to walk around Naruto, who still sat. First is the gate of opening. This is located in the brain. This gate removes the restraints of the brain on the muscles so 100% of their strength can be used, whereas normally, a person can only use 20% of their muscle strength to keep them from disintegrating. Unlocking this gate allows the user to use the front lotus. Naruto nodded as Gai moved on. Second is the gate of healing. This is also located in the brain. This gate forcibly increases one's physical strength and temporarily re-energizes the body. Third is the gate of life. This is located on the spinal cord. It allows the user to use the reverse lotus. The increased blood flow turns the skin red. Fourth is the gate of pain. This is located on the spinal cord. This gate increases the user's speed and power. In result, it may cause muscle tissue to tear up. Fifth is the gate of limit. Increases the user's speed and power. This is located in the abdomen. Sixth is the gate of view. Increases the user's speed and power. This is located in the stomach. Seventh is the gate of wonder. For above, this is located below the stomach. This gate will turn you into an almost unstoppable powerhouse. Eighth is the gate of death. This located at the heart. Releasing this gate uses up all of the body's energy. It makes the heart pump at maximum power and exceeds the power of every other gate. Opening this gate assures the user's death shortly after. Together they are the 8 gates. Gai now sat on the floor again. Any questions, Naruto? Naruto listened intently as he nodded and asked one important question. Can you use techniques when you are using the 8 gates? Gai shook his head negatively. Impossible. The 8 gates is the ultimate form of Taijutsu. Using ninjutsu will kill you because of the amount of chakra that is leaked out thanks to the 8 gates. Naruto frowned. Okay, do we start learning it now? Gai nodded as he got back up. Yes, we have time. I will see how many gates you can open when the training is over. Naruto nodded as he got up with Gai. Gai then walked forward towards outside. Come Naruto, let's begin. Naruto smiled as he walked after his teacher. He will have to show his determination. 5 months later, a 16-year-old Naruto is wearing a black cloak with red flames around the whirlpool symbol on it. Under it there he is wearing Anbu cloths. He is walking home with Hana to his left and to his right Anika. Hana is wearing the traditional but tight Hyuga clothes to show off her curvy figure, C-cup in her long beautiful hair. Anika is wearing a female version of what Sasuke wears with the Uchiha fan. She was not as curvy as Hana but still looked good, a mini version of Makoto with a C-cup. The two girl was currently shooting eye lighting at each other. He's mine Hyuga bitch, you will never get him, thought Anika. Get your hands off him Uchiha whore, he's mine and I don't share, thought Hana as they made their way to train at Training Ground 12. Night. Kushina was still training when she heard the doorbell. She opened the door to see a girl Naruto's age with a normal katana with the exception of the guard, which is in the shape of a 4-pointed bronze-colored star. Its hilt is light blue and sheath dark blue on her back. Kushina-sama, would you train me to use this? The girl said as she pointed to her sword. Why? Kushina said, realizing it was one of the girls Naruto had saved. Because I want to save Naruto someday like he did for me, the girl replied. Then why don't you train with Naruto and his friends? Kushina asked. I want to surprise him, the girl replied. Alright, you torture I mean training begins now, Kushina said as they dragged the girl into the house. Finally, we just need to get to the gates and we will be home free, Iruka, said Mizuki. You right, Mizuki, Iruka replied. Really? From the way things look right now, you're just going to die, said Naruto appears in front of Mizuki. He kicked Mizuki in his chest, forcing him to let go of the scroll. Iruka run through a few hand signs, shouted, Die demon brat, this is for my parents' fire, release great ball of fire, and shot out a giant fireball at Naruto. Naruto just stand with a bored look on his face, then he run through some hand seal and slam his hand into the ground and said earth release. Earth style wall and a giant wall block the fireball. Suddenly Mizuki appear behind Naruto and shove a short blade into his skull as Naruto vanish in a puff of smoke. Shit, a shadow clone, where the hell is he? Yelled Mizuki. We don't have time, let's deliver the scroll to Lord Orochimaru, said Iruka. As they were about leave they heard voice shouted water release. Water whale bullet technique and giant whale came crashing down at them, forces them to split up and run in different location. With Mizuki, you thought you could get away, a voice said. Come out, Kyuubi brat, so I can kill you, yelled Mizuki as he looked around for Naruto. Suddenly a shout of Kaiman, the gate of opening, then Naruto appeared in front of him, front lotus, and Mizuki receive a bone-crushing kick to the jaw. You could hear the cracking of bone as he sent flying into the trees. With Iruka. Iruka was jumping from tree to tree when Naruto appeared in front of him. Give me scroll or I will kill you, Naruto said. Like you could kill me, demon brat, yelled Iruka, charging at him as he run through a couple of ensigns fire release. Great fireball technique shooting it at him. Naruto just stood there letting it hit him when the fire clear. Naruto was nowhere in sight. Is that all you have, Iruka? I'm very disappointed, replied Naruto on the opposite side of Iruka, yawning. Iruka started seeing red and charge at Naruto, not seeing the smile on Naruto's face, as they engage in a taijutsu spar with Iruka gaining the upper hand when Naruto charka spike and Naruto vanish. Suddenly Naruto appeared behind Iruka and stabbed him in his back when, poof, Iruka was replaced with a log substitution technique. At that moment Naruto fell to spike through his stomach. Earth release. Earth spike. Iruka came from behind a tree with a smile on his face, seeing Naruto being impaled by the spikes. I'll be hero for killing the nine-tail, though Iruka. Suddenly he heard several chirping bird Chidori, then Naruto was in front of him. He could see Naruto's red slit eyes as Naruto's hand went through his chest. How? He replied. Blood clone, Naruto whispered in his ears. Iruka slumped forward, his hand landing on Naruto's shoulder as he held the pose of stabbing Iruka. A grin spread on the older man's mouth as his life force drained out on the earth below, and he whispered a few choice words to Naruto as his last revenge. Remember this, boy. Remember me as your first kill. The first blood on your hands. Remember why you are a monster. Iruka said as he coughed up blood, then he fell back and hit the ground as the Naruto in front of him turned into blood. With Mizuki. Doden. Earth Fisher, Mizuki slammed his fist into the ground and Naruto felt the ground shake around him and realized where he was standing was not as safe. The ground collapsed in on itself and took several trees with it. Naruto leaped off the ground onto a tree limb. He didn't get much time to recover though, as Mizuki came up and kicked him right in the gut, sending him back and forcing him into a tree. Let's see your girlfriend save you from this time, Nine Tails. Mizuki grabbed a kunai and ran forward, knowing that the boy got the wind knocked out of him and wouldn't be able to move. Naruto watched as Mizuki charged him. Should I use up too much charka on my first attacks? What the hell has taken Kurumu so long? He knew he only had enough charka for one attack alone, he just has to make it count. Yahoo Naruto-kun, I'm back, did you miss me? Kurumu shouted. Could you give me some charka? Naruto replied. Anything for you Naruto-kun, Kurumu said as Mizuki charged at Naruto. As he reached closer to stab, Naruto dodges his attack, then Mizuki was sent flying into the trees. Shit, that kick broke 3 of my ribs. Mizuki, is that all you have? As he got up when Naruto appeared in front of him with his Mangekyo Sharingan activated. Tsukuyomi. In the world of Tsukuyomi, Mizuki was chained to a bed while he was being raped by Orochimaru for the 72 hours as he screams, "An! Too troublesome to write." Real world. Screaming was heard through the village. The memory of what Iruka had said to him came back and what he had just done. Mom was right, Naruto said. Flashback 2 years. Naruto had just killed a Chunin that had attacked him when he went to the bathroom, and now he was in the hospital treating his injuries. He looked up and saw his mother. She was not surprised to see some tears there. Rin-chan said that the path of the shinobi was the path of death and glory. She also said that we must always be ready to kill or die to protect our village. That is what it means to be shinobi. He sighed. It's the same thing that you, Hit-chan, Mik-chan, Yosh-chan and Su-chan have all told me. I understand it, it's just. The reality is never how you picture it to be. She said simply. She gently wiped his tears away and smiled at him proudly. Taking a life should never be done without reason. When we kill, we do so in self-defense or in the service of our village, which is what separates us from murderers or bandits. As long as you acting under any one of those 2 circumstances, do not doubt that your actions are just. Does it get easier? He asked. She nodded. It does. In time you will learn to simply kill and not feel. He shuddered a bit. That sounds awful. She slowly nodded. In a way it is, but Naruto-kun, do you want to feel this every time you are forced to kill? Could you bear it? The girls and I have both killed many in our times, and I think we are all good people with good hearts. But if we could not turn our heart off when we needed to, we would go mad. He looked at her unhappily. You turn your hearts off. Kushina nodded. We learn not to feel at those times. It is the only way to do it and stay sane. Mom, it sounds kind of cold-blooded. It is, son, but if you are a shinobi you cannot always afford to be human. She hugged him again and kissed him. Do not misunderstand me. I do not mean to deaden your heart all the time, for that is just as bad as feeling too much. Be human, love, laugh, and even cry when your heart tells you to. You learn to do it when the time calls for it, son. Naruto looked at her and slowly nodded. I think I understand. Flashback end. The Anbu arrived only to see the scroll unharmed and the dead bodies of Iruka and Mizuki. In the trees, Naruto was looking at the Anbu smirking. I think it's time for me to head home, whispered Naruto in a very low voice. The Anbu decided to take the dead traitors and the scroll and leave. Then a yellow eyes figure appear licking its lips. My, you have grown strong, Naruto-kun, you soon be mine. Then it vanishes. A week later, Naruto was coming from training. They not had decided the team placement yet when he heard. Lee, my youthful student, you will be stronger than ever. Guy said, pumping his fist for emphasis. Guy sensei, I will run 100 laps around the village. Lee yelled to his sensei. And if you do not run 100 laps around the village, I will do 500 push-ups. Guy boasted. And if you are not able to do 500 push-ups, then I will do 1,000 jump ropes. Lee wailed, tears starting to form. Yush Lee, your flames of youth burn brightly. Guy shouted as tears appears in his eyes. It is all because of your tutelage, Guy sensei. Screamed Lee as tears appeared in his eyes as well. Lee. Guy sensei. Lee. Guy sensei. Lee. Suddenly the two were hugging, tears falling from them like waterfalls. As they did, a sunset background appeared behind them as well as a waterfall and a rainbow as they continued to call each other's names. Guess Guy decided to take my advice and a train academy student, Naruto said. Yeah, he was disappointed when you could only open the first gate, Kurumu replied. Oh, you are awaked, Naruto said. Yeah, that noise wakes me up, Kurumu replied. Few minutes later, Naruto was trekking back home. As he entered gates he was suddenly surrounded by 10 Anbu members with a root symbol on their forehead protector. Lord Danzo would like you to join us, Dog Mask said. What if I don't want to join to him? Replied Naruto. You don't have choice, either you join us or die, shouted the dog mask Anbu. Naruto begun to wait his option, then he walked forward and said, alright, I join you, but first, where is my mother? She will be fine as long as you come with us, said the dog mask Anbu. Suddenly a man came flying out of the house and crashed right in front of him. When Naruto looked at him, he had a broken, then another came flying out with the same problem. A furious but Kushina came flying out and punched the dog mask Anbu mask in his face, sending him flying into the trees. Naruto had to hold back a blush as looked at a half Kushina with only a towel on. You were trying to rape my mother, I'm going to kill all of you, Naruto roared as the red charka begun to cover his body. Some of the Anbu begun to sweat because of the powerful Ki that were directed at them. He appeared behind an Anbu and shoved his kunai through his chest. The others regained their senses and started attacking him at once. Fire release fire dragon technique, they all shouted as a huge explosion that rocks the village. With Kushina, she was fighting off 5 Anbu, cut them down with her kanata one after another, Uzumaki style. Dance of the full moon, then disappear. All the Anbu suddenly fell to the ground dead. She heard the explosion. Naruto, she screamed as she was about to run over to him. 5 more Anbu appear before her. With the Hokage, he was in his office when he heard the explosion. He saw that it was coming for the Uzumaki compound. He summoned his loyal Anbu cat. She long purple hair, you guessed, you, she is snake. She had short purple, same with her, and tiger, and they all rushed to the compound. With Naruto, when the explosion clears, Naruto was not there anymore. Looks as if we killed the demon brat, replied a nameless Anbu. Then he heard a voice, wind release. Flying swords of doom. 50 wind swords came flying a fast speed, killing all the Anbu. Naruto came out of his hiding place as he stopped kneeling down and started breathe hard as he had used too much charka in that technique, and suddenly he heard chirping birds behind him. He turns around to see the goat mask Anbu and froze it. Then his memory came back. It was same person that had attacked him years ago. As the attack was about to hit Naruto, a gentle hand pushed him away and took the attack for him. It was his mother. She had took the Chidori for him right through her shoulder. She then kicked away the Anbu. Then 10 more root Anbu came out of nowhere surrounding her. Kushina tried to fight off all of them until a sword pierced her chest. Then he saw them holding her down. Mom, Naruto shouted as he ran towards her with blind rage when something a kunai pierced his legs and shoulders. As he fell to the ground, he heard. Loin now, said the goat mask Anbu. Mind destruction no jutsu, a loin mask Anbu with blonde hair shouted. A few seconds later they both started to scream as they both fell to the ground. Goat went over to check on them. Shit, he is dead. The bitch mind is a lot stronger than we thought, he replied. I'm not strong enough to save her, this where I die. Naruto as the Anbu came in for the kill when a yellow eye figure appeared between them. The last thing Naruto heard was, "Ku ku ku ku," before darkness take over him. With the Hokage earlier, as they jumped from roof to roof, everybody was shocked to see a dome of about 50 wind blade on the far part of the village surrounding a portion of the Uzumaki compound. Move faster, shouted the Hokage. The yellow eye figure. Fools, I won't allow you to touch my prize, the figure said as it vanishes. The root Anbus fell to the ground. The only one to escape was the goat mask root. The figure walked up to Naruto to look to see if he was alright as it reached Naruto and kneeled down and exposes its fang to bite Naruto on his neck when it heard someone coming and vanishes. A moment the Hokage and his Anbu arrived to see the unconscious bloody bodies of Naruto and Kushina and dead root Anbu were everywhere. Call Tsunade now, yelled the Hokage. At root hideout. Lord Danzo, we have failed you, Goat said. What happened? Replied Danzo. As he told the story, Danzo had a frown on his face. Was it Orochimaru? Said Danzo. Not sure, I didn't see it face, replied Goat. At least we got that blasting woman out of the way, we'll get him next time. At the hospital, Naruto woke up to see Hana, Anika, and Makoto crying at his bedside. Stop crying, you know I can't bear to see beautiful ladies cry, said a weak Naruto. All three of them blush and hug him, drowning him in. Alright Naruto-kun, they all yelled. I'm fine ladies, but where is my mom? Is she alright? He asked. Nobody answered. Where is my mother? Naruto yelled. Calm down, she's alright, but she is in a coma and we don't know if she will ever come out of it, replied Tsunade as she entered the room. Naruto hold down his head begun to cry. It's my fault, he said. No, it's not. All the girls yelled. Yes, it is. If I was strong enough, I could have saved her. Naruto yelled. Naruto-kun, stop saying that no one could defeat that many persons. You did your best, said Hana. Hana is right, Naruto, replied Makoto. She lift up his face and bring it closer to hers. She could see that they weren't reaching him. Naruto break away from Makoto grasp and gave her a smile. Tsunade, take me to her, Naruto said. Tsunade motioned for him to follow him. As Naruto got out of the bed, the hospital goon fell of him, revealing a Naruto and his big member showing, but Naruto didn't even realize as he continued to walk, but the girls Makoto and Tsunade did. Makoto, Hana and Anika blush, then was blow back with massive nosebleed. Tsunade had to use her training as a med to prevent from passing out from a massive nosebleed. As they walked through the hall where all the nurses were, when they saw Naruto, they all pass out from nosebleed. This continued until they reached Kushina's room. Patients and visitor, female only, alike pass out with nosebleed while the men cursed Naruto. That day was known as the bloodiest day in the village history. In Kushina room, Kushina was there laying on the bed with tube coming out of her throat and hook up to a life monitor. When Naruto saw his beautiful mother laying there, tears begun to fall from his eyes as he remembered what had happened to them and how powerless he was. That made him cry even harder. Danzo is going to pay for this. I will get my revenge if it is the last thing I do, but how? Naruto though as he fell asleep. Mindscape. Yahoo! Kurumu shouted as she tackles Naruto to the ground as she covers high face. Get off me, Kurumu, I'm not in the mood, Naruto replied. Sorry Naruto-kun, I was just trying to cheer up my Destiny 1, Kurumu said. You're what? Naruto asked. Oh, nothing, Kurumu replied a little too quickly. Right, the only way to cheer me up is to make me stronger. Naruto said. Fine, but we will have to leave the village first, Kurumu replied. Are you crazy? I can't leave my mom alone, Naruto shouted. I have that taken care of, just trust me, Kurumu replied. Fine, what do I have to do? Naruto asked. A few minutes Naruto left Kushina's room, not seeing the red chakra surrounding her. Next day in the Hokage office. No Naruto, for the last I can't allow you to train outside the village, you have to do it with your team, yelled the Hokage. I need to get stronger and get my revenge on Danzo, my teammates will only hold me back. Naruto yelled back. Revenge is never the answer, yelled Hokage. Whatever, old man, I'll go whether you approve or not, as he walk out. Naruto, take one more step and I will have to stop you by force if necessary, yelled the Hokage. Naruto stopped in place and turned round with his Mangekyo Sharingan. You can try, Naruto replied. Sudden the Hokage was sent flying from his office window into a house. He saw Naruto running to the gate. The Hokage uses a technique to cut Naruto off. Earth release. Earth box. 4 huge walls surround Naruto, trapping him. As the Hokage walked to detain Naruto, the box explode as the heard a voice. Lighting release. Lighting lion bullet. The lion charge at the Hokage, but he easily dodges it and the lion hit into a building, killing the people in it. Naruto ran towards the gate again when he was hit by a very powerful wind. Wind release. Great barrier wind. The attack sends him crashing into the wall. Give up Naruto, you can't escape me. If you give up now, I'll forgive you for attack me, the Hokage said. No, I can't do that. I need power to kill Danzo and get my revenge. I will come back into just 2 years. I'm begging you. You can even send someone to train me, please, Hokage-sama, Naruto said as he got on his knees with tears coming out of his eyes. I sorry Naruto, but I can't, replied the Hokage. Then you leave me with no choice. I will have to use my most powerful attack to kill you and leave, said Naruto as he called forth all the 9-tail chakra. Then he run through some sign that the Hokage had never seen before, and the Hokage run through some himself. Wind fire style. Wind fire dragon bullet, shouted the Hokage. Nova release. Big bang, roared Naruto. Think Vegeta from DBZ attack. The two attack collided, causing a great explosion as it clear you could see blonde hair running through the gate but the Hokage was nowhere to be found. Kai, release. Nice try Naruto, you almost got me, but genjutsu won't work on me, and where did you get a Sharingan from? Said the Hokage. Naruto started to sweat as he used up a lot charka to cast the demonic illusion, false death, as he fell to the ground. Mindscape. I told you it wouldn't work, Naruto shouted. Calm down Naruto-kun, there is still genjutsu that will work on the old fool, Kurumu replied. And what is that? Naruto asked. It is a surprise, you will just have to thrust me, Kurumu replied. Fine, what should I do? Naruto asked. Just this, Kurumu replied as she leaned forward and capture his lips with her and insert her tongue into his mouth. Naruto froze for a second, then wrap his hand around her waist and deepen the kiss for a minute, then they separate. Naruto could feel the power going through him. What was that for? Naruto asked. In case, Kurumu replied. In case what? Naruto asked. You die, Kurumu replied, and before Naruto could reply, he vanishes from his mindscape. Good luck Naruto-kun, yelled Kurumu. Real world. As the Hokage came closer to retrieve him, he felt a surge of charka force him back. Then Naruto stood up with his Mangekyo Sharingan blazing Kotoamatsukami, mind-controlling dojutsu. Hokage, you will let me leave the village for 2 years to train. You will tell the council that you are the one that sent me to train and that you will send someone to watch me too, and you also send Yoshino, Makoto and Hitomi to protect my mother. You will give me a copy of the scroll about sealing arts you have. Naruto Sahida's blood came out of his eyes and ears. Hurry up Naruto-kun, you won't last any longer, Kurumu said. I know Kurumu-chan, Naruto replied. And finally you will never remember this fight, Naruto said. Yes master, the Hokage said as he retrieves the scroll and gave it to Naruto. Then Naruto took it and left. Outside the village, Naruto had just left the Leaf Village to go on his 2-year training. He had took some scrolls from the Uzumaki compound that he will learn. Naruto traveled for 2 days until he was out of the land of fire, where he found a place to rest and train. Hey Kurumu, what are you going to train me, Naruto? First I'll teach you a technique, set me free for a while, then we are going to get you in shape before any serious training. For next 3 weeks we will be doing physical training, Kurumu said as Naruto set her free. The first she was to tackle him to the ground and covered his face with her wonderful. After that training started for the next 3 weeks Naruto did. The Sandaime was talking to a Junin, Hana and Anika, then suddenly a figure appear in a red flash. It was a man about 5 foot 9 inches, in an open cloak that show off his muscles and six-pack. It also covered his face, and a symbol on his back mark, Supernova. Who are you? Sandaime asked. I can't believe you forgot me already. It only been 2 years, replied the cloaked figure as he lifted it up to revealing his whiskered face and long red hair that reached his shoulder. As soon as the cloak came off he was tackled by 2 blur, forcing him to the ground, hugging and feeling up his six-pack. Wow, Naruto-kun, you are so hot, Hana said as she continued rubbing his six-pack. Hana is right Naruto-kun, you were hot before but with the red hair Anika moaned as she continued rubbing his chest. Cough. Getting everybody attention. Sorry about that Hokage-sama, they all reply. So Naruto, how was your training? The Hokage asked. It was fine, I'm stronger than I was before. So where do I stand in your ninja system? Naruto said as he handed the Hokage a scroll of his training trip. You are still a genin, replied the Hokage. Okay, so when the next promotion coming up and do you have a team for me? Naruto asked. You're in luck, it's only a few months away and we have team that is short 1 person, just go and meet at the academy tomorrow, replied the Hokage. Thanks old man, I will see you around. I am going to visit my mother, she must have awoken by now, said Naruto with a smile on his face. Sorry Naruto, but she is still in the coma, Hana replied. The smile suddenly disappeared. Naruto did not say anything, he just vanished in a red flash. Do you think he will be okay? Asked Anika. He will be fine, now let's get back to work, said the Hokage. At the hospital Kushina room, Naruto watched his mother glowing red. Why is my mom surrounded by your chakra? Naruto asked. How do you think she survived that night 18 years ago? Kurumu replied. You left some of your chakra in her, said a surprised Naruto. Yes, I did, and it is the reason her mind didn't completely shattered that night, Kurumu replied. Is her mind still shattered? Naruto asked. I'm not sure, you have to touch her, Kurumu replied as Naruto walked over and put his hands on her. So, Naruto said, her mind was fixed a month ago, Kurumu replied. Then why didn't she wake up already? Naruto shouted in anger. It was my order not to wake her until we arrive, Kurumu replied. Why did you do that? Naruto asked. If she had awoken, she would have died because it took all of my chakra in her body to repair her mind, Kurumu replied. Why would it kill her? Naruto asked. My chakra is what keeps her alive, Kurumu replied. How? Naruto asked. I will tell you later, now put your hands on her chest, said Kurumu. Aura of life, Kurumu said through Naruto. As Naruto put his hand on her chest, a pink aura started covering up Kushina, and then her eye opened and she saw Naruto with her eyes off open and sits up. Damn, he's hot. So he is the one who revived from my coma, as Kushina look him up and down, then blush appear on her face. I feel like I got younger somehow, as she started feeling up her, yes, definitely younger, realizing what she was going in front of the red head, she blushes. Kurumu hid his whiskers. Am I dead? She asked. No, you are alive, replied Naruto. As she lay back on the bed, her memory returned to her, then she jumped back up, scream out, Naruto. Calm down, he's alright, said Naruto. At this she calmed down, not knowing how she could trust this guy's word. Maybe it was something about him. Naruto was about to tell his mom who he was when she leaped out of the bed and capture his mouth with hers and push her tongue into his throat while Naruto stood there frozen. That was for reviving me, she said with a wink. So Naruto, it seems that Kushina woke up, Hokage said as he came in. Hokage, are you crazy? Naruto is not here, replied Kushina. He's right over there, pointing to the red hair guy, then his whisker appeared back on his face. As Kushina looked at the still frozen Naruto before a blush appeared on her face, then she fainted. What was that about? Asked the Hokage. Don't know what you are talking about, Naruto answering quickly before covering up his erection and ran through the door and knocked over a girl carrying documents. He helped her pick them up, then he left. Later at a bar, Enko and Kurenai were talking to each other about the team Kurenai got. The next thing they saw is Hana taking shot after shot at the bar. Hana called Enko, wondering what's going on. Ladies, Hana called out. Is it wrong for me to ravage someone for their appearance and package? She blushed. She can't get the image of red hair guy and his big member that she saw coming out of Kushina room that had knocked her over. Kurenai raised an eye while Enko smiled evilly. No, who is he? He's hot, has red hair, look about my age, and is a symbol supernova on his back and very big member, said Hana. This shocked them both. They had heard of the supernova. Hana, being 18, is having a hard time to find someone who can literally dominate her in some ways and in size. Saving herself, she finds a lot of guys not to her measures but one blonde who was on a training trip. Who is he? Asked Kurenai, wondering about her relationship with Asuma. She can feel he is cheating on her. Enko also asks while Hana blush. She turns to Enko asking her if she knows the memory jutsu to get into people memories form, the Anbu, which she nodded. Grab both of my hands and please don't scream, Hana said. Both Enko and Kurenai shrugged their shoulders. Their lives haven't been doing so great. Genma is a guy who gets it then falls asleep while Asuma gets tired so easily. When Enko performs the jutsu on Hana's thought about what happened at the hospital. Kurenai opens her eyes so fast, turns to Hana and started blushing. He looks familiar, Kurenai said. He's hot. If only I was single I would ravage him as soon as I see him and his big member, snapping from her gaze. She can't do that. One, it's wrong, she was in a happy relationship, right? Enko looks at Hana. She got up but Kurenai pulled her by hair. What? All I'm going to do is ask questions and to find out who he is, said Enko. Anko mumbles about. Riding that red head, shaking from excitement, she turns to Kurenai, blushing like a tomato. Now I know who he looked like. He looked like Kushina's son Naruto, Kurenai said out loud. Next day Academy. Team 7 will be Haruno Sakura, Uchiha Sasuke, and Uzumaki Naruto. Your sensei will be Hatake Kakashi. Cha. True love conquers all. Sakura shouted. Sucks to be you, Ino pig. Uzumaki Naruto, where have I heard that name before? Hinata. Then she remembered, it is the name of the hot guy my sister told my mother had returned to the village. Uzumaki Naruto, that the loser my sister and mother was talking about last night, Sasuke. Where have I heard that name before? Ino. Oh shit, I used to stacker him. I mean following home until his mother caught and threat me. Who is this Naruto sensei? Kiba shouted. He was a genin that was on a training mission 2 years ago and just came back, his sensei replied. So you have finally returned, now I can get my revenge, a student. Team 8 will be Hyuga Hinata, Aburame Shino, and Inazuka Kiba. Your sensei will be Yuhi Kurenai. Team 9 is still in circulation from last year, so Team 10 is an Ino Shika Cho team again. Your sensei is Sarutobi Asuma. What? Ino yelled, causing many to cringe. After school 3 hours later, Naruto arrives to see his 2 teammates. So they put me with Anika little brother and councilwoman Haruno daughter, Naruto, as he took a seat beside them. Guess we are teammate, nice to meet you, Naruto said. Sasuke replied, not even looking at Naruto. Great, he has a stick shove up his like his father, Naruto. You too, Naruto-kun, Sakura replied with a blush on her face. A man appeared in front of them. Team 7 on the roof, disappearing in a poof. I seen this guy's hairstyle and color from somewhere before, Naruto thought. That because he is the goat mask Anbu that attacked you, Kurumu said. Naruto anger rose, but Kurumu calmed him down. After that he got up and vanished in red flash, shocking Sakura and Sasuke. On the roof, Kakashi waiting for his team but is shocked to see Naruto appear in red flash. Interesting, didn't know he could do that. Kakashi watching as Naruto sits on the rail waiting for the others to come up. Let's tell each other our likes, dislikes and dreams, Kakashi said. Why don't you go first, sensei? Sakura said. Okay, Kakashi. My name is Hatake Kakashi. I have likes and have dislike in my dream. I don't have to tell you, Kakashi replied, pointing to Naruto to go next. I am Naruto Uzumaki and I hate goats, Naruto said, and that was it. He took out a bingo book and started reading. That it? Kakashi said. You say something, Naruto said as he looked up from his book, then smiling as he watches Kakashi with no emotion on his face. Sasuke and Sakura face fault at that. Kakashi, demon brat, then he points to Sakura. Naruto ignores them and begins to talk to Kurumu. You are aware this man tried to kill you? Asked Kurumu. She knows Naruto will do anything to teach this Jonin a lesson for what he did all those years ago. He is one of the reasons why his mother was in the coma. My name is Haruno Sakura, my like, looks to Sasuke and giggles. Dislikes are Ino pig, and my dream is to, looks to Sasuke, blushes, then giggles hysterically. Fangirl, Kakashi thought excitedly. You're up, Uchiha-sama, Kakashi said. My name is Uchiha Sasuke. I don't have many likes and I hate nearly everything. My dream, no, my ambition is to kill a certain man. Now we will meet tomorrow at Training Ground 7 at 8 a.m. Don't eat breakfast. Watching Kakashi shunshin away, Naruto lets out a yawn and shunshin away. Hokage office. Naruto had just received his shinobi ID when he heard. Today's the day I surpass you, old man. The boy yelled before he fell on his face hard. Hello, Konohamaru. The Hokage sighed. The boy, Konohamaru, got up with a groan and looked around. Hey, you tripped me. He yelled at Naruto with an accusing finger. You tripped over your own feet, you idiot. Naruto replied calmly, picking the boy up by the shirt. Honorable grandson, a voice yelled from the hall. He's in here, Ebisu. Sarutobi replied. As he finished, A man with a dark blue suit and sunglasses walked in, panting heavily. There you are, put him down this instant. Ebisu yelled at Naruto. It's the demon boy. You say something, Naruto said, not looking at the man. Then he turned to the Hokage. I'm going home, Naruto said, and dropped the boy on the floor hard. Ha, you can't do anything because I'm the Hokage's grandson, Konohamaru boasted. Suddenly Konohamaru was sent crashing into that Ebisu guy and knock him over. Then Naruto walked out of the room. Naruto was walking home when he saw a walking rock. Damn, what a stupid kid. Naruto, kid, rocks don't have feet. As soon as he finished, the boy leapt out of his disguise, smiling. I'd expect nothing less from my rival, he exclaimed. Rival? He asked. Kid, I don't even know you. Teach me something. No. Why not? Konohamaru asked. Because I don't feel like it, Naruto replied as walks away from the kid. Instantly the boy jumped in front of him and pointed a proud finger into the air. My dream is to the next Hokage, so I won't take no for an answer. Naruto was about to answer him when. Honorable grandson, get away from him, a voice shouted. Landing in front of the two, Ebisu rushed to the boy's side. You shouldn't associate yourself with people like him, he said disdainfully. Naruto was in front and his hands were on Ebisu's throat, then lifts him off the ground and started to squeeze it. What is wrong with people like me? As he squeezes Ebisu's throat harder. You are killing him, Konohamaru shouted, but Naruto ignored him and squeeze until the guy was out cold. Then Naruto just throw him into the garbage bin. Why did you do that to him? Konohamaru shouted with tears in his eyes as he checks to see if his sensei was alive. Because he was annoying just like you, and if you continue to follow me the same thing will happen to you, Naruto said as he walked away. That was very harsh, Naruto-kun, even for you, Kurumu said. I know, but I don't want anything to do with anybody that has as the last name Sarutobi, Naruto replied with venom. Next day, training ground 7. Naruto appearing an hour late since Kakashi appeared yesterday 3 hours late. Naruto sat down and began to eat apple, making the team confuse. What, it's called breakfast? Naruto said as he ate the apple. He hears Sasuke snort and Sakura shrugged her shoulders. With another hour has passed, Naruto stretches and gets up. About time, Hatake-sensei. Turning to the left, Kakashi appears while raising an eye. You're late, Sakura yelled. Sorry, I got lost of the road of life, Kakashi replied in a lazy manner. Liar, Sakura yelled. So why are we here? Sasuke asked. Naruto nodded. You're going to take a survival test to see if you can become Genin, Kakashi replied. But we already did that, expect this loser, Sasuke thought aloud as he points towards Naruto, who ignored him. That was to see if you had what it takes to be at Genin level, Kakashi answered. 66% of you will fail the test and have to go back to the academy, and only 33% of you will go on to become ninja, at least in this regiment. Your job is to get these bells from me, he said, tying the 2 bells to his side. Come at me with the intent to kill, it's the only way you'll get them. But Kakashi-sensei, there are only 2 bells and 3 of us, Sakura said. That's right. The one without a bell at the end of 3 hours will be tied to one of those posts and watch as we eat our lunch, and that person goes back to the academy, he replied, pointing to 3 stumps in the ground behind them and held up the lunch box. Naruto stands there raising an eye. But to Sakura and Sasuke sees the bells on Kakashi's sides, thinking they will get the bells. 3 hours go, said Kakashi. Sasuke and Sakura vanished, leaving Naruto standing there glaring at Kakashi. Is something wrong? Kakashi asked. No, just looking at a fool, Naruto replied. Naruto just poofed away in a cloud of smoke. Kakashi shaking his head while thinking, so he knows the Kage Bunshin. He might prove troublesome. Quote. With Naruto. Naruto casually walks to Sakura, who is hiding in a bush. Sakura getting up. What do you want, Naruto-kun? She said while blushing. We need to work together, Naruto said. Anything you say, Naruto-kun, Sakura replied. Just wait here, I'll be back, Naruto proofs away while Kakashi appears in front of Sakura placing a genjutsu on her. Well, that was easy. Then he heard from behind him wind bullet blowing away Kakashi. Naruto releases Sakura from the genjutsu and disappears in a red flash with her. The demon is stronger than I thought, Kakashi said as he brushes himself off. With Sasuke, we should join together to fight him, Naruto said as he appears near Sasuke. Sasuke smiles, an elite like me join you never. You are just a loser, said Sasuke snarling at Naruto. Fine, replied then Naruto proofing away. Kakashi standing in the field reading his book, now Sasuke is north while Sakura is east and the demon is above you, answered Naruto. Fire release. Flaming tiger technique, taking a huge breath a huge tiger erupts from his mouth aiming at Kakashi. Within the last second performed a Kawarimi no Jutsu. However, his book wasn't so lucky. So he dodged it. Jumping down he turns around while performs a few hand seals, water release, black whale bullet, shooting a huge whale from out of a nearby lake and hits Kakashi a few feet away slamming him to the tree. With Sasuke, Kakashi was fighting Sasuke when got the clone's memory. Shit, he's good, Kakashi. Kakashi blocks Sasuke's punch then he throws Sasuke to a tree. However, before Sasuke even hit the tree Naruto appeared and saved him. Sasuke push him away. I don't need your help, Sasuke, Kaden Grand Fireball technique. Wind release. Bull barrage, Naruto is his wind bull combined with the fireball which cause an explosion. Naruto grabs Sasuke disappears in a red flash to avoid the explosion and so did Kakashi who had escaped too. Naruto threw Sasuke away charged toward Kakashi with his palm glowing yellowish Nobaden Chidori, Nova release. Thousand birds, thrusting his palm in a arrow-like way into Kakashi chest as it burn him then he is impaled through the as Kakashi scream out in pain. He adding more power to his hand the attack burned Kakashi chest making the wounds deeper but not life-threatening. Kakashi grabbed Naruto hand to twist it off, but Naruto quickly grabbed Kakashi hand and fought for dominance. Hurt doesn't it? Smiled Naruto. Wind release wind dome, his body glows white, while wind comes from the body pushing Kakashi away from him. Kakashi hit the tree as he got up he held his wound he had enough. Lifting his headband up he reveals, Sharingan, angry that he has to use it on him. Naruto seeing this smiled. Are you alright Mr. Goat? Naruto as he started to laugh then he leaves in a red flash making Kakashi angry. Covering his eye, he curses that he let Naruto get the psychological advance on him but more importantly, he drew first blood on Kakashi lots of it. Shit he knows who I am. He is going to be trouble in the future I got to make sure he doesn't get any stronger. I got to train Sasuke more so he will be able to control the Kyuubi like how Hiruzen and the council wants it. Leaving the forest he goes to the training ground to find Sakura tied up. What's going on here? Kakashi turning around seeing Sasuke charging at him with a few kunai. Naruto appearing from behind with a wind hammer slamming on Kakashi back. He braces for the kunai to hit him but it didn't. Turning to Sakura, she was holding the bells in her hand smiling while Kakashi looks shocked, what how? Turning to Naruto he stands there folding his arms, Sakura my bell, putting his hand out. Sakura moves to Sasuke and gives him a bell. Looks like I'm going back to the academy, Naruto replied with a smile on his face as he walked away. He figured it out at the start. However, more importantly he knew I wouldn't let the Uchiha fail, clever expected that from the demon, turning to Sasuke and Sakura, you three pass, as Naruto stopped. What? Sakura yelled. The main objection is to use teamwork to stop me, Kakashi watching their stunned reactions. So Naruto-kun was right, said Sakura as she blushed at hearing this while Kakashi raised an eye. Naruto wasn't looking for an answer. He knew and understood the reason for the objection, whatever, Naruto said turning around he looks at Hatake-sensei. You honestly think those two will work together with me? You are so wrong, leaving in a red flash. Kakashi knows what Naruto said is true but, Naruto they aren't going to work with you. but against you, and when Sasuke is done training he will make sure that you will die and Sensei will be avenged." Smiling, he looks at the two genin in front of him. Uzumaki compound. As Naruto entered the house, he saw Kushina, Makoto, Tsunade, Rin, Shizune, Yoshino, Hana and Anika talking to each other. "Hey, what's going on here?" Naruto said. Then Makoto run up and hug him and pressing her lovely DD at him, making blush while she getting glared at by the other women. Ignoring them, she holds Naruto tighter. "So Naruto-kun, how was your training? You got a girlfriend yet?" Makoto asked. Every look interested in his answer. "Well, flashback 6 months ago. So this the village hidden in the mist," said Naruto. "Hold it right there. What are doing in our village?" said a nameless guard. "I am here to seek to sword master to train me," Naruto replied. "You have to talk to our Mizukage first, so follow me," said a nameless